Once again, thanks for coming on my channel. This is the channel message. We have begun a new series entitled The Last Days. As a believer, one of the major things that we are looking up to is something called the blessed hope, the appearance of the Lord Jesus Christ. When Christ comes, it will usher in the end of this age, and it will bring about a new age of eternity, immortality, where the believer will live with Christ forever and ever and ever. And unfortunately, those who did not believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, the scriptures tells us that they are going into eternal damnation, eternal judgment, and eternal destruction. Christ being kind and Christ being nice, out of the graciousness of Him, has given the believer the things to look up to so that they will be able to conduct their lives so well that when He comes, believer will not be found wanting, or the believer will not shrink, but will be able to stand before Him. And so, in this series, we are going to discuss the things that Christ told the believer to look forward to in terms of his soon appearance. And because of that, we have begun this new series called The Last Days. And we are basing all on the book of Second Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 through 8. So without wasting time, let us dive into the first scenario that God or the Lord Jesus Christ is telling his disciples to look out for so that they will be able to conduct themselves well. In that respect, be able to what be prepared when he comes. These things that we are going to talk about has to do with the personal or the micro event, things that will stem from human behavior, which will be a big indicator that Christ is what soon coming. And not only that, is a big indicator of the fact that we are living in the last days. I've always said the day that Christ ascended into heaven ushered in the last day. Christ can come at any time. He told everyone that his coming, nobody knows, but he gave us clues, things to look forward to let us know of his last day. Just like the weather, when you see the weather, when it's dark, you are able to say that it's going to rain. In the same way, God has given us these signs so that it will alert you and I to be able to do what is right and to be able to prepare for his coming. So the book of Second Timothy chapter 3, I want to take the verse 1 and 2. And this is what Christ says. But mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, and boastful and proud. So, one of the first things or the first scenario, things that will happen during the last days, is that it's going to be terrible time. Terrible times as it pertains to nature. When you read the book of Matthew, it tells us there will be earthquakes, there will be wars, there will be rumors of war. And we are seeing that across the board. We are seeing the nations at war. We are seeing various earthquakes, all of these things happening. And it's an indication that we are in the last days. So you and I, as believers, have to see and have to know that when we see all of these things happening, we are in the last days. So, what do we have to do? We have to be watchful and be alert and live our life right so that when Christ shows up, we'll be able to spend eternity with Him in a place of perfect peace and joy. The other scenario that the Lord tells the believer is that people will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful and proud, abusive, disobedient to parent, ungrateful, and unholy. If we said we are going to dive into each topic, it's going to take months and even years. So here we just want to give a brief explanation and understanding of all of these things so that if you're a believer, you catch yourself. If you find yourself in these behaviors, catch yourself and turn back from it so that you'll be able to live the life that God has called us to live, a distinct life from those who are in the world, so that when He comes, we may be able to have a place with Him. He said, people will be lovers of themselves. It means that in the last day, people are going to be very, very selfish and self-centeredness. And we see that across the board, from leadership all the way to even the little person. You know, it's all about themselves, is what they are going to gain. They don't care about the other person. They are not selfless, like how Christ was selfless and what came down to die for us. That will not be the case. But people are just going to be me, me. They'll be lovers of money. They'll be driven by money. Money will be their God. Okay. Instead of making the Christ their God and living for Christ, money will be what dictates their life. Money will be how they relate to people. And sometimes they will kill for money. That's why people are involved with banks, cocaines. They are doing fraudulent stuff just to swindle other people. All of these things are all indicators of the last days. That Christ said, if you see all of these things happen, then know that we are and you are in the last days. They'll be boastful, prideful. They will think that they don't need anybody. They have arrived. Okay. They will feel because of the money they have, maybe the educational intelligence that they have, or their own personal experiences. They will say, well, you know what? We don't need any God. We have arrived. But one of the things that I've seen, that when you take a plane and you are flying about 50 to 70,000 feet, and when you look down on Earth, one of the things that you see is that there's nothing to see. That tells us that we don't know much. We are living in a universe that we are very, very little. That is why it is critical and it's important to put our hope in the Creator. Humble ourselves, listen to Him, walk with Him, so that when He comes, we may be able to have a place with Him. The Bible said they are going to be abusive. How many abusive stuff do we see? Men and women subject each other to abusive relationship. Children, unfortunately, are subjected to abusive relationship, and it's across the board. We hear it in the news. These things are going on over and over and over and over, and these are all indicators of the last days. Disobedient to parent, ungrateful, unholy. Nowadays kids feel so entitled. They don't feel that they even need their parent. And all of these things are going to be the signs of the last days. So, my brother and my sister, my child, if you see all of these things happening, which is undeniable that is happening in an increasing manner, and because of social media, we can see the depth and breadth of this. It's telling us that our king, our soon coming king, in the person of the Lord Jesus Christ, is coming. The Bible says, with a voice and with the trumpet of the archangel, it will sound it aloud, and everybody will see him ascend, descend from heaven with power and glory, and he will send his angels to gather all of those who belongs to him. And the Bible says we shall be with him, and where he is, we also shall be, and we shall live with him forever and ever with peace, and we shall escape the horrors of this life, the painfulness of this life, the unjusticeness of this life. So this moment, even as you are listening to me, we are seeing all of these things happen. Trust the Lord. Put your hope in him. And when you do that, your life will never ever be the same.